What's up, you guys? How are you? I just told Barrett I'm going to kick him out of the videos because he's ridiculous. But hello, happy Tuesday. Is it really only Tuesday?
Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. All right, guys, we can jump on, give us a hello. So we want to kind of continue our topic from yesterday. We were talking about accountability and looking within and understanding that, like, you're the only person that you can be accountable to, that you can hold, that can hold you accountable. All of that fun stuff. So if you didn't watch yesterday, go watch it. But we wanted to talk today about cognitive bias. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and there's so many, like, I got to be on this side, I got to be on that side, you got to take sides if you're not taking sides, if you are taking sides, like, so much stuff going on. And so we want you guys to understand is what is cognitive bias and how is it affecting everything that happens in your world every single minute, every single day, and it will for the rest of your life. Okay, so let's first talk about what it is. Hey Amber, like what it is and how it's playing in your life and how you can see how it's playing out also in other people, right? More understanding of ourselves, more understanding with other people creates love and positivity and the change that we actually want to see in the world.
So I think with all this, you guys, it's important to get off me.
Keep my chair.
Get off me. Important to understand that, like our belief systems, our modeling, all the things we've discussed up to this point, all yet again come together, right? Like everything we do in our world revolves around much broader things than just the compartmentalization of what we tend to do and put things around, right? And so when we're talking about biases, you guys, we're also talking about is your own belief system, your BS, right? And so it's understanding that. To smile on that one.
I was like, did you really just say that?
But it's understanding that you have your beliefs based off of the references that you have in your life, right? And so we've talked about this in however many episodes ago, but essentially your beliefs, you guys, are built kind of like a table, all right? So think of like the tabletop is your belief, right? And the legs are whatever the references you have to hold up that table, right? And the more references you have, the stronger that belief is. Well, when we have a bias, you guys, it's understanding that we may have all those references, but it's also understanding that we may be missing legs from other references to either support or weaken that belief, right? And so, when we're talking about this, you guys, I think I love kind of just explain things through stories. I think that's the best way I like to learn. But when we were talking about this earlier, it made me really think about one of the best gifts I was ever given. And so Can I
stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, so really quick, like what is cognitive bias? So he kind of skipped over what is cognitive bias and what's your belief. So your cognitive bias is your life, right? Like I am a white female raised in Denver, Colorado. That is my bias. That's the only life I've lived. That's the only life I'm going to live, right? Like unless I have another life or I have a life that I've had that I don't remember. But like your cognitive bias is your life experience and the things that have happened in your world, right? So I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't know what it's like to be a different race. I don't know what it's like to live in a different country. The only thing I have to go off of is what I've had in my life, right? Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to put on blindfolds, right? Like we all have a bias because that's what we know, right? What we need to understand is that bias is not, it might be your truth in the world you've lived in. It is not the truth, right? And you have to understand that we all have blinders on. And so in order to see things differently, we have to take off our own blinders. That again, not our fault. I had no choice of how or where my soul was put and what body it landed in. But you have to understand that you do have a bias. And if you choose to believe that you don't, then that is indeed your fault. Okay, continue.
So, rewind time. At the end of the month, it will be rewinding even further. But essentially, I think I was 24 or 25, right? I was finished up school. I was working. I just finished as a assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Colorado. I was placed in there, was very fortunate to be able to work with the athletes, the clientele, the coaching staff, my mentors at the time, and then transitioned over into a sports performance coach at Velocity Sports Performance. That led me into working with the Avalanche, a lot of other professional sports athletes, all these other laundry list of amazing athletes and coaches that I got to be around. That led me into my next career opportunity of working as a personal trainer at the athletic club at Inverness, and which was one of the only CrossFit gyms at the time. And that was 2007, 2006. So unknowingly to me, at the time, I had no idea what CrossFit was, right? Like they hired me because of my background, and my director at the time was like, hey, you must know all about this. This falls right in line with you. And my ego at the time was, I've never heard of this, right? Like I have this laundry list of clients that I work with that are in the NFL. They're all-stars in the NHL, the MLS, whatever it may be. And I've had all these amazing mentors, and they've never mentioned one thing about CrossFit. And so at the time I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing of all time, right? And so finally later on I got introduced to fighting to go through a class. I got, humbled beyond humbled through that experience. But the gift that I got out of that was more on the aspect of not only what CrossFit was, but more importantly, it showed me that I don't know everything. Right? Like the humility that I got from that experience that has brought us to this point of opening the gym and working on the things also showed me on a life standpoint, I don't know everything. Even though my ego at the time, especially as a young 20-something-year-old, I had all this list, I had all the reference points of I know all this stuff works at what I do. You know what? I had all the reference points of thinking my shit didn't stink, right? Like I had all the references of thinking I had the most amazing mentors. But at the same time, when I finally decided to experience what my director at the time was getting me to do, opened my eyes to show me that my viewpoint wasn't the only viewpoint that was correct to get the proper response, right? Like we're talking about exercise and strength and conditioning, but that also transcends across every other element in our lives, right? Like that humbling gift that I got really showed me that I don't care whether you have a PhD in that field or whether you're just somebody coming off the street. I can learn something from you. And so that gift that I got is something that I really try to hold on to now with any experience that I have with any aspect of somebody that cross paths with me is what can I learn from you? Perhaps you have a different viewpoint, a different perspective, a different reference, a different life experience that I've never had. And how can I learn from that? And how can I grow from that? Right? And because when we set ourselves, we talked about rules, right? Like when I set myself in this concrete box of it has to be specifically the way I view it, when I say it has to be in exactly the same format in which I say it has to be, we close ourselves off, right? And I hope while we're going through this time, you guys, because in my opinion, what's happening now isn't the vital part of it. Right? Like we are very emotional right now. We're going out there. We're getting in there. Everything's heated. This isn't the important time. The important time is going to be what's going to happen a month from now. What's going to happen 6 months from now? What's going to happen when life opens up and we get back into the having to take care of the kids all day and take them to school and go to work and deal with all these other things and our normal rucks of life. What's going to happen then? And so I think when we get into the standpoint of understanding that and understanding that Courtney's viewpoint is going to be a little bit different than mine, that doesn't make her wrong. Right? And same thing for all you guys out there. Your viewpoints may be wrong than mine, or maybe different than mine, but it doesn't make it wrong, right? And I think that's the overwhelming sense of what can be vital about this time right now is being able to have conversations that we normally wouldn't have and be compassionate enough to understand that my viewpoint isn't the only one right because it's my bias. Right? Like it's the same thing we talk about in our methodology of exercise, right? Our methodology, we're biased towards that because we've seen the results it breeds. But that doesn't mean just ours is the only way to get things accomplished, right? And so the goal of this, you guys, is to yet again expand your horizon, expand your terminology, expand your viewpoint, and hopefully take the blinders away from yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about this all the time, you guys. First, it's awareness, it's observation, it's curiosity, right? Like, what's going through yourself right now? Like, where can you bring awareness? We talked about this yesterday. Where can you bring awareness for yourself, right? Whether it's coronavirus, whether it's the riots, whether it's the event, like whatever's happening, there's been a lot going on, right? There's a lot of time for self-reflection that's very in our face right now, which is good, right? I think there is an awakening happening for so many different levels, and I think that's amazing. But if you don't understand that it all has to start first here, it has to start with you, then it's never going to work, right? We talked about that yesterday in depth, so I'm not going to talk about that. But like, find awareness in your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your sensations, like what's going on there? Like, where are your blind spots? We all have them. We all have them in our healing, in our growth, in who we are in the world, in how we show up. Like, we all have blind spots. So become aware of what those are. Pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your words, pay attention to your language. Notice those blind spots. And then you get to go, okay, I don't have to judge myself for having these because we all have them. But what I do after I have awareness is what's important, right? You get to have awareness, and then you get to have observation, right? Like I'm spending a ton of time on social right now, just observing, right? And it's really interesting. I'm observing what people are saying. I'm observing what different friends in different places are saying. I'm observing how that affects me emotionally, right? I'm also paying attention to what that does to me, and choosing to allow so much in and not in, right? Because you have to be aware of what it's doing to you, right? You need to have awareness of what are the people around you saying? Like, who do you respect? Who do you go to? What's their vision? What's their life? What's their truth? Like, can you have awareness around that, right? And can you observe it all? Can you take a step back and go, okay, what are all these people trying to get? What outcome are they searching for? What need are they trying to meet? We talk about that all the time. Right now, and everything that's going on, everyone is trying to meet a need. And they're really, really, really dedicated to meeting that need because they're in a heightened sense of emotion, right? And so you do that too. I do it. We all do it. Like, take a step back in all aspects of life and go, okay, what need am I trying to get met? What need is Brandon trying to get met? What need is my kid trying to get met? What need is a protester trying to get met? Like, what needs are these people trying to get met? We're all doing it, and that's just part of life. You don't need to judge it, right? So observation, so awareness, observation, and then curiosity. How curious can you be about someone else's scenario, about what happened, about what was going on in everyone's lives 10 steps back, right? What's going on in your own life? Why do those things make you feel certain ways, right? So everything we teach in Shift is observation, awareness, curiosity, non-judgment. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if you're talking about racism. I don't care if you're talking about food. I don't care if you're talking about loving your body. I don't care if you're talking about raising your children. I don't care. It's all the same thing, right? And when you start to realize everything in the world works together, right? Our Shift program is completely about understanding yourself and the pieces of your life that they all work together, right? So does everything else in this world. This scenario is different because of coronavirus, because of who's in the presidency. All of this stuff is different because it all works together. And if you choose to believe that's not true, then you're just choosing to stay in the dark. You're choosing to not wake up. You're choosing to keep your blinders on. So you need to look at your life. Where are your blinders? And if you have no idea how to find them, then you need to come and you need to work with us, right? Because we don't want to tell you you're wrong. We don't want to tell you, like, all we want to do is give you tools to help you see life, see yourself differently. Because as soon as you start to see yourself differently, I can guarantee you everything on the outside starts to look different. Because right now, if you're in a place of stress and struggle and frustration, like, that's all you're going to see, right? That's all you're going to see in this scenario, right? But when you can learn to say, I can give myself grace, I can find peace in myself, I can look inside and not judge myself, and I can heal, then you can start to heal the world. So if you want the world to change, you've got to change yourself. And it's I don't want to say it's no fun, but it seems scary, right? To go, I don't know if I want to look at that stuff. I don't know if I want to honor that I have a dark side. I don't know, but once you do that, the lightness will show up, right? And if everyone was to do that, if everyone took 4 months of their life, 3 months of their life and said, I'm going to deep dive on myself and my beliefs and what's happening, a year from now, the entire world would be a different place. Like, that is the way to find peace and oneness. Everybody has to look inside and stop pointing the finger and stop trying to change somebody else and stop doing all of that. Can you help other people? Absolutely. Do you need to speak up about things? Absolutely. But if you're not doing the inner work, nothing's ever going to change. So you want a better marriage, you want a different body, you want better health, you want better friendships. Look inside, right? And if you don't know how to do that, I want to invite you guys. We're opening up our Beta Shift program because there's a need for this right now. We've been going live for 65 days just to help you guys, just to provide content. And all we keep getting back is there's a need for this, right? So 20 people, that's it. We're going to take 20 people. We're going to work as a group. We're going to dive deep into this stuff, you guys, and it will be amazing, and it will change your life. Not in 90 days, not in 120 days. Like, the shifts will happen immediately. So if you're feeling like you're stuck, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're like, oh, this all makes sense, but I don't know how to do it, then you need to join us in this program, okay? Details are coming. It's going to start beginning of July. There's a lot of you guys that have already reached out that are like, hey, I need this, I want to do this. So if that's you, if you don't know how to take your blinders off, if you don't know how to look inside, and you want to do it with a group of like-minded people that are open and honoring their own journey, then this is our invitation for you to ask for more information, to jump on a phone call. Let's see what we can do for you. Let's see where you can find that growth, and how as a group we can facilitate it for everyone. Because if we do that, the world, all of the people in your world will benefit from that. Not in 90 days, but in 2 weeks, right? In a day. Like we've seen our marriage get better because we started working on ourselves, and we had a great marriage, but it's gotten better because we have such a different understanding of ourselves and what we do and of each other, and so much grace and so much gratitude for all of those things. So anything else?
Well, I think the part that she covered a lot there, but I think the part that she also said at the end of there is understanding, right? And I think that's one of the more powerful words that we can come from this time frame is understanding, and understanding for ourselves, right? Because I know from my own experience and my own journey of going through a lot of this stuff, you guys, is the more I understand myself, the more it allows me to understand others, right? It allows me to see things that I never would have seen before, right? Like, noticing why certain things bother me, I get to also understand why certain things bother her, right? I get to see why certain things bother my kids. I get to see how they respond to certain things. I get to also understand the same thing we've been talking about, is why I have specific biases in my life, and understanding that perhaps maybe I need to broaden my horizons and seek out different information so I can have a different understanding, right? Because I think that's the part that I've seen a lot come through the airways of a lot of things of like, well, I'm not really sure about that person's view, or that person should have done more this, and that person's, that's not for, yet again, there's 3 businesses in this world. There's my business, there's your business, and there's the universe or God's business. And oftentimes we're outside of our own business anytime we're trying to make sense of the world, right? Like, the world shouldn't be this way. That person shouldn't be reacting like that. They shouldn't be writing. They shouldn't be doing this. We are outside of our own business, and we're trying to make sense of what and trying to essentially fight reality. When we start to fight reality, guys, that we conflict with ourselves, and we start to have internal just conflict, internal just turmoil happening there. And so when we can start to understand that we need to look inside and stay with our own business, and that's the only business we can change, and that change is going to be a projection outside of us, and we're going to view the world differently, our interactions are going to be differently, and ultimately our understanding is going to be different. All right. So, everything that Courtney just covered on there, we've seen it with our clients change not only their relationships, change not only their outlook, change not only their business, change not only their professional lives, but just change them on a massive front for their entire life. Their happiness, right? Because really when it comes down to this, you guys, really all we want as human beings, we want to experience love, we want to experience joy, we want to experience safety, we want to know that what we're going to, we need certainty. We need uncertainty. We need all the needs of what we have of the 6 human needs that we covered back in episode 4, right? But really, that's all we ever want in this world. And so we invite you to be a part of this, because yet again, I promise if you dive into this with us, you are going to see massive change, and you're going to experience things that you never thought, right? Like, I swear, go to bed every single night still just feeling like I've never felt so much gratitude in my life, and feeling on the sense of I've never felt freedom, right? Like, yet again, do I have massive amount of things that what we want to accomplish? Do we have a massive mission that we want to accomplish? Absolutely. But at the same sense of knowing that I go to bed every single night, of being able to look at my family, look at my wife, and look at everyone that I have in my life, and know that I have a sense of gratitude because I am no longer fighting the restriction within myself the same way that I was, has brought me to a different standpoint. So that's why this is so vital for us, you guys, is because we've had so much growth and change within ourselves. And yet again, the world we're in right now is pouring out that we need this right now.
It's screaming for help, right? And I mean, that's such a good point, is like when we started along this journey of ourselves, we thought we were happy. We thought we were we were happy, right? But there was these nagging things and these underlying things that were like stealing that from us, and it was stealing the lightness and the love and the joy. And that's why we're so passionate about this, is because we've done it. We've taken countless clients through this, and the other side is so beautiful, and the freedom and the lightness and the love, and you probably can't even imagine what it's like. So it's an invitation to what if you stepped into a different way of looking at the world? What if you started to love yourself a little bit more? What if you started to honor yourself? What if you started to really say, I want to do something different and I want to be different. I want to feel different, right? And if you do that, when life throws these things at you, like when life is going to happen, when it comes at you, you have a whole different set of tools and ways to look at it and ways to show up in this world that I couldn't even have imagined 5 years ago, because I just imagined what the coronavirus and the riots and all of this stuff would have felt like 5 years ago, and it would not have been great in our world, right? And so if you're in that place, like just reach out. Let's get on the phone. We'll have a conversation about this. We'll see if it makes sense for you. If it does, that's awesome. If it doesn't, that's great. Like, we just know there's people that need this, and we really want to help you guys. So we love you. We appreciate you. Let us know if this helped, if it landed. If you have questions, please reach out, and hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. Stay safe. Go spread joy. Be love. Be light. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all.